Okay, so on this show, it's an astrology show. Why are we interested in astrology? Because we want to understand world events and get a sneak preview into things that might be happening. So, a story I have been following is Russia in prophecy in terms of the revelations, Catholic prophecy, the sightings in Fatima. I've also looked at more Protestant style prophecies, and this came to my attention. I thought I must share it with you. So, if any of you guys have been following it's the Chilean guy who reports from Ukraine. I think he's Gonzalo Lira. He's saying that this thing is effectively one that Russia has achieved everything they want in the east of Ukraine. However, there's still a high possibility that they will press forward right over to Odessa and Transnistria, which is part of Moldova, as I mentioned before, and that could involve them taking the whole of the Black Sea. And then he also mentioned the possibility of Poland's taking a claim on Lvov and some other countries who might take a claim, leading to the balkanization of the Ukraine. If Putin has, as he is saying, quite successfully secured the eastern half without much problem, and he wasn't ever interested in getting Kiev, that means the most nutrient-rich in terms of the soil, the most mineral-rich side of the country will be taken under the auspices of Russia. And he says, that's what's happening. So in terms of the Western media who are trying to convince us that Putin is ill and he's terminal and he's crazy, well, this is the same media that told us Trump was deranged and he had dementia, when we know that there now really is someone with dementia in the White House, and they're very, very quiet about that. There's basically a reanimated corpse walking around the White House, and they're saying that he's going to run again in 2024 because he's so fit and strong and he's bang up for the job. So I wouldn't pay any attention to that. If there's something important, well, they're not going to be telling you about it. They're going to try and pass off, decrepit old people who can't hold it together as totally competent people, whereas Putin, to me, sounds incredibly lucid. Today he was speaking about how the Western economies are committing economic suicide, that the sanctions are only going to hurt them, that Europe will become incredibly uncompetitive with massive price rises, which will lead to economic downfall in Europe. These are rational, sane comments. And alternatively, we have Boris telling us that the future is bright for the UK economy and things are going to be great, and our post-COVID bounce back was phenomenal, and everything's just going to be fine. And I'm thinking, And it's Putin who's crazy. Yeah, okay. Anyway, enough about that. Also want to mention that a lot of people are saying, and I did say astrologically this is entirely possible, that China may make some sort of move on Taiwan. Might not be militarily a move, but more economic move to almost take down Taiwan. But as I said, it needn't necessarily be bombs or something like that. It could be more of an embargo, some sort of economic move to weaken it and take hold. That was important. Talking about apocalyptic stuff, I don't know if you guys saw the blood red sky in China, and now apparently there was also a blood red river. Now I know it's a country that's incredibly polluted, so this could happen. Alternatively, a lot of what's coming out of there could be fake news, so it could be a psyop, to kind of spook people, but I just thought I'd mention that anyway. And something else I wanted to mention in terms of Russia and prophecy, but let's talk about this. Now, the Pope has never been to Russia. Now, there's the split between Eastern Orthodox and the Catholic churches, and as a result, there's never been a meeting of the Pope. But the Pope has been making rumblings that he might go to Moscow. So this article, which was in the End Times in 2019, I'll give you the quote at the page, says, Pope's upcoming trip to Moscow, sign of imminent World War III in prophecy. So the Pope's never been to Russia. No Pope has ever been to Russia. And the closest contact the papacy has ever had with the Eastern Orthodox Church was in Cuba in 2016 when Russian Patriarch Kirill met with Pope Francis, right? And that was the first ever meeting between the Eastern and Western churches in over 1,000 years. So on December the 6th, that was 2021, Pope Francis said he is ready to go to Moscow soon. Pope Francis said on Monday back then, right, that he was willing to go to Moscow to meet Russian Orthodox Patriarch Kirill brother to brother. Okay, first trip of a Pope to Moscow. So many Christians are aware of the events in Fatima. That was 1918 when several children saw visions of the Virgin Mary and 3 secret prophecies were revealed. These were including prophecies about world wars and a polar shift. Now, fewer people are aware of this similar Marian apparition which was seen in Spain in 43 years later, and Conchita one of the girls who saw visions of Virgin Mary in Garabandal in Spain warned that the Pope will go to Russia, and as soon as he returns to the Vatican, the hostilities, which will immediately precede World War III, will break out in different parts of Europe. Now, apparently about 500 years ago, the prophet Nostradamus, he said that World War III might start in Ukraine. So I just thought it was interesting. You can read the rest of that article. I thought it was interesting to just revisit that in the light of current events and everything that's going on. Let's all keep our eyes out for a papal visit to Moscow and what that could potentially mean. Now, this is particularly relevant with Finland and Sweden wanting to join NATO. It's also very relevant because Turkey, a member of NATO, are not very keen. I think Turkey want to keep their feet in both camps. I don't think Turkey want to jump one side or the other, and they'd like to keep good relations with Russia, especially being there on the Black Sea. So it's very interesting that Turkey are not so keen for those countries to join NATO, even though Turkey is a part of NATO. So I'm thinking that there could be a split between Turkey and the West, or the West could try and put a lot of pressure on Turkey, just as they're doing now with aid and arms to India, to get them, split them from Russia. I think Turkey is in a precarious position, and I did suggest that Turkey could also be balkanized because it's very important what's going on in Turkey, particularly being on the Black Sea. I'm still thinking that area of where Turkey and Greece, the Bosphorus Straits, could be an area where we see some sort of hostilities break out, particularly because that's the key area to take grain from Ukraine. It's Ukraine's seaports in the Black Sea. Crimea is in the Black Sea, Sevastopol and whatever in the Black Sea. So there's a key shipping route taking grain, oil, well, not oil and gas, but anyway, taking produce through the Black Sea. They have to go through the Bosphorus Strait. So any kind of sanctions is eventually going to, I think, culminate in some sort of conflict around the Bosphorus Straits, which is going to draw in Turkey, right? So Turkey can't stay neutral in this for very much longer, which is why I've seen Turkey's chart is quite significant. Other people are warning, including Salvini from Italy and Macron, that there are going to be these food shortages, and there could be as much as 20 million people having to flee Africa due to food shortages. And that's why I said in the chart, I see very significant events in Egypt and also in Israel because of those food shortages, most probably, and because the flood of refugees, it could be going through Egypt via Israel into Europe. So could even foment some revolution in Egypt. So we'll keep watching all those places.